HooHooHooRobin.
Listen, I got to interrupt you guys because we have a big star on the phone. A big star. Sean Hannity on line 12.
Oh, big star, my foot.
Sean.
You know better than that.
Hey, Sean.
What's up, guys?
You do a national talk show just like we do, right?
I do a national, and by the way, you
guys
are doing great. I read you guys grow by 1 million a day. It's unbelievable.
Well, we are growing by leaps and bounds.
It is. I got XM in my brand new car. I got it. I get to hear the show a lot.
Well, do you actually accomplish things on your talk show? Because we certainly don't. We're talking about apples and our interns screwing up and our...
I hear you guys accomplishing things when I'm listening. Yeah, you go from topic A to the next topic. The only thing you really got to do is talk and fill some time at the end of the day. And if you guys make people laugh, and you often make me laugh, then I think you've done your job.
But, Sean, you don't understand. We
I
do that.
I had to turn you guys off, though, with my kid in the car this weekend when you do the replay.
That's a good parent. Very good.
What part of the show did you have to turn off?
The part where the F word was being played a lot.
Yeah, that's called every day.
Yeah, that's
not every day, because I hear you guys.
And Sean's making history on his show on a daily basis. The guests come on, they reveal things that go into historic record. And we sit here and talk about white stuff on Jimmy's Apple. Jesus Christ, some perspective.
And we're in Penthouse magazine this month, Sean.
Well, then you have a way of talking about relationships that, believe me, Sean Hannity will never be able to match in his entire life. I stick to actual topics that I know about.
Sean's in Time magazine, and we're in Penthouse and Hustler.
Hey, Sean, just to embarrass you, I'll be honest.
All right, embarrass me.
I'm gonna read the first paragraph.
Oh, don't read the first paragraph. Come on, it's embarrassing.
Of our exclusive interview in Penthouse magazine, the September 2005 issue. We did make the cover though, Sean.
Did you guys make the cover of Penthouse?
Well,
our names.
Our names, Shock Jocks, Opie and Anthony.
Not a sexy
They're
cover.
finally censor-free. What's next?
Yeah.
Would you like to hear the first paragraph?
I was hoping you'd read it.
Oh, yeah, the second paragraph is just as good, Jimmy.
Is it? I actually thought it was nice.
It's near the end of a typical Thursday show for Opie, real name Greg Hughes, and Anthony, last name Cumia, at their new XM studios located near Central Park in New York City. The guys and their sidekick Jim Norton are on the air listening to call-in guest Wheelchair Fred report the day's news from his bathtub as he inserts a dildo into his ass.
Oh.
And the FCC can do nothing but sit back and listen with them.
Great.
Sean,
I have no doubt it's being pumped right into the FCC.
Sean, who do you have on your show?
Do you have an actual news guy? Because that's what we do with the news.
Yeah, my news is just slightly different.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit more issue-oriented.
Might be talking about Supreme Court nominees.
I talk about things that I know about. That would not be a topic that I could relate to. I've been married. You guys need to get married. That'll change your perspective.
No, I went.
Well, yeah.
Anthony, you tried it once, right?
Tried. I tried for 9 years, Sean.
But you know what? You didn't marry the right woman.
Well, that's for sure.
Because I have friends of mine that are in horrible marriages, and I look at them and I'm like, they didn't marry the right person. I'm pretty lucky I married the right person.
Yeah.
If you marry the right one.
Well, Anthony's been married, and it turns out the girl I wanted to marry, they would only let us get married in Massachusetts. You got to check certain things.
Big backed gal, was she?
That's a topic for me this afternoon. Hang on, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, are you proud of us when we talk politics on this show?
You know what? I am proud of you, and whenever I'm on your show, invariably somebody's going to come up to me and say, well, what are you on with those guys for? And I said, because they're nice guys, and I get along with them.
Yeah, it's really weird, because we come from totally different...
Well, we come from
sides.
I think we come from similar backgrounds, and
we have similar backgrounds in terms of where we were raised.
Yeah,
we're almost the same age.
Mm-hmm.
You guys talk a lot about sex topics. I stick to things that I know about, which is politics.
Well, that's a misconception. We don't talk about sex as much as we used to.
You talk about.
Oh, we still do. I mean, because we know that it should be a part of the show. But we were talking about Hillary Clinton last week and how she's trying to get all the violent video games off the shelves because that's so important right now.
Isn't that a waste of time?
Yeah, the adult-only rating that they put on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas after it had an M rating, which is 17.
Yeah, I actually played that game. I like it a lot, but I wouldn't let my kid play it.
There you go again, just parenting.
Well, it's just parenting. For example, when I was listening to you guys, and it wasn't last weekend, it was like the weekend before on XM. And it was getting a little risque in the talk, and I just turned it down, and then it was getting worse and worse, and then I had to turn it off.
Yeah. Then I had to sell my car.
Then I had to sell my car and take 202 off the channel.
Yeah.
But you know something? When I tune into you guys, it's usually I hear you guys late at night when I'm driving home from Fox, and I listen to you guys because the show's funny. You guys have a great sense of humor. You guys are having fun on the air. And I totally expect that it is going to be an adult show.
Yep.
I go to R-rated movies, and I wouldn't take my kid to an R-rated movie. I have probably every movie channel that's out there because I have DirecTV. I don't let my kids watch those channels that I don't want them to see. They like SpongeBob SquarePants anyway. So I think it's really up to the adult and the parent in particular to choose the material that's appropriate for their kids. I'm pretty libertarian when it comes to things like that. I think you guys on the radio should have some latitude to create what you want to do on the radio. I think satellite has given you a freedom that I don't think you ever imagined.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys seem to be enjoying.
We're having
Yes,
a really
we
good time,
are.
and the show is growing big time.
Hey, let me tell you one thing. If I could just convert Opie into a Republican.
I don't think that's happening.
That ain't happening, right?
I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm a moderate.
What does a moderate mean?
I'm right in the middle. I think
You
both
lean
sides.
a little left of moderate, okay?
I think both sides have some good ideas. I think both parties need to get together
All right, if
and
somebody
work together.
If XM gives you a check for $100,000,
Yeah.
because you guys get paid according to the papers a lot of money,
Mhm.
and when you get that check, you only get $51,000.
Yeah.
You don't look at that check and think that I pay too much money in taxes.
Absolutely. And Opie has to deal with that every week.
What a problem!
I don't know. You should see how I live. It's ridiculous. I guess I have enough money. I don't know.
I don't like the taxes. I don't like the amount of taxes, but I didn't like them when I was, pulling in $35,000 a year.
Yeah,
didn't
but
like it either.
I was with you. I started in radio. I was making $19,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I started at 14,000 a year to do overnights.
Well, you know what? We've all been pretty lucky.
Yeah, and you get raked on the taxes. I'm not a big fan of that. And then the more money you make, for some reason, they feel that if you achieve the American dream and become successful, that you ought to be penalized for that.
Yeah, they're entitled to it. I don't know anybody that's successful. I don't care if you're in radio or any business that you're in, that you don't work really, really hard, devote your entire life to what you do. I remember, Anthony, you probably forget, you told me that you and Opie used to talk when you guys were in radio limbo land there for a
Yep.
while, that you guys would do a show for each other every day.
It was pretty much on the phone, going over the news and just kind of keeping it together,
Well, that means that you guys are really dedicated to what you're doing. This
Unlike
is what
Jimmy
you-
Norton.
This
Right.
is what your real passion is. And so if you end up being successful at it and you take some risks and you're edgy on the radio and you risk being fired on the radio and then say you start making money, why does the government get half of what you earned?
Yeah.
How about 20%? 25% is fine.
They're like a mob partner. They're in with a
You can't get
50%
out.
cut. You can't get out, and they're in for 50%.
And what was this Forbes who wanted to do a 17% across the board tax for everybody?
There's two books out. Forbes' book is just out. Neil Bortz is a buddy of mine. He's writing a book that's going to be out next Monday, and it's about the flat tax. Yeah, they average about 17%, or a consumption tax. Anything you buy, you pay that percentage in taxes.
And by the way, you'll never see this.
I
You
don't
will
think you
never,
will.
ever see we cannot get these politicians together to come up with anything, never mind something that huge and that much of a change. Just
I don't
can't
think, I don't
happen.
think you will either. I really don't.
And you know what the best part of this conversation is, Sean, is that Rich Voss is in studio, and his hands are folded right now because he's realizing how dumb he really is,
No,
and
you
he
have
has
no
nothing
idea.
to contribute.
You have no
to this.
idea how much I love Hannity.
I know you love
and
Hannity.
I wanted to talk and I want to ask him stuff, but this is, I don't want to step on Opie and Anthony.
No, you don't. You
And
don't
I'm
want to ask
freezing.
him a dumb
Hey,
question.
Sean, are you
will.
ready for a dumb question
No, I
from
have
Rich
not.
Voss?
No,
Fire away. I
have
can't
not
wait.
He's a
been-
big fan of
No,
yours. He's
what
no
gets-
joking.
What gets me is every time Sean goes on the show, somebody attacks him, blindside attacks him, like Rosie or something, and he invites her on his show, and she never shows up, and it just pisses me off.
Did you guys see that when Rosie attacked me on The View?
It's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're like the name that comes up when people are talking about Republicans.
Yeah, but you
Or
know
the right.
You know how you guys are misunderstood.
Sure.
You were surprised, both of you, when I knew a lot about you and your career, and I had said from the very beginning, when you guys got in trouble in New York, that that should not have been a death sentence for your career.
Right.
And I think you guys appreciated that because there weren't a lot of people out there supporting you.
Right.
Yes.
And similarly, there are people that have no idea where I stand on any issue, but they just assume just because he's a conservative and he likes George W. Bush that he must be evil.
Yeah, your name is like a catchphrase with these people. They just lump it in with, they go, oh, yeah, that Hannity type. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there are worse types. I mean, I'm the type of guy that goes home, takes care of my family, has a political passion, and all I do is express an opinion.
Does parenting instead of wanting to rip any type of adult-oriented entertainment off the view screen.
Well, that's true.
It seems like the left has been so spoiled when it comes to, at least the media, that, Fox, which is definitely, I think, a conservative bias, but the one media outlet on television that's like a real conservative bias, everyone's like, they're the conservatives. And meanwhile, CBS, NBC, CNN, every other news outlet leans to the left, and nobody ever considers them left-leaning because we're so used to it.
And in cable news, I could tell you that our competitors literally get no viewers ever. They don't ever have anybody watching. So then the question becomes, are the American people stupid, or have they made a wise decision? In other words, what is the reason that they tune out CNN and MSNBC? And I think they feel that there's an inherent built-in bias, and you can't fool them. People are pretty smart.
We think it's the panic mode that your Fox News does to the people with the alerts and the fear.
Well, maybe the next time you guys are on, we'll do Fox News Alert.
That goddamn Fox News Alert every time. Bong! Fox News Alert. What happened? No street cleaning today. Alternate side parking has been suspended. Holy Jesus! You guys scare the crap out of me over there.
That sounded like a good idea at the time.
It scares me at times because you just think like. And I think one of the reasons we feel like that, because I think in the back of all our minds, we're just waiting for the next bomb to drop.
Right.
And, look what happened in London the last few days.
Well, I kind of want to get into that a little bit with you about the searches going on, because the ACLU today has chimed in and said they are going to start challenging this random search. And then they come up with no research whatsoever. They say this will have no effect on terrorism. They just blurred it out.
The irrelevance of the ACLU has become so irrelevant in the last few years and such nitpicky. All they do is argue slippery slope. They have become a disgusting group.
Yeah.
Well, here's my take on it. Because if you're dead, you don't have any liberty. If you're afraid to board a subway, you're not free anymore. Your liberty's been taken away from you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to change the manner in which you get to work because you're fearful of using public transportation, you don't have any liberty there either.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we live in a world where there are real scumbags out in the world that would smile and be happy if they blew up a bomb in some place like Penn Station and they were killing innocent men, women, and children.
Absolutely.
So we've got to deal with it. And the only way I can think of that you can deal with it is if you think people might be planning something like this or orchestrating something like this, check their backpacks, check their bags so that everybody else is safe. I mean, for those that have been arguing this is a bad idea, well, I guess similarly they're going to argue that they don't want to get checked when they get into an airplane anymore. And when I get
what's
on an
the
airplane,
difference?
I want to know that this guy sitting next to me had his bags checked.
Why is it when you're going after the mafia or they're going after people in the mob, they don't do random searches in Brooklyn. They monitor Italians. They monitor when they're looking for the Westies. They monitor Irish people. You know who's involved with every organization. So why with this do we pretend that we don't know?
And how come it's got to be so blatant where they go, look, we are not profiling based on race?
One of the most asinine things I saw on TV, literally there were like 7 grandmas in a row.
Oh, shit.
85-year-old women.
Stop it. Stop searching the old women.
Stop searching, Grandma.
It's a waste of resources.
We had a guy on TV last night, and I said, isn't that a waste of time? He goes, you never know. One day they might be able to recruit grandmothers to work for them.
Yes.
And I said, you've got to be kidding.
That is very funny.
And this is just to appease the people that are going to chime in and say, look, they're profiling. Well,
Look,
why
if
can't
I
profiling
had
be
to
used?
Choose between searching Opie and Anthony and an 85-year-old grandmother, I'm going after Anthony first.
Of course, me, sir.
He is a swarthy-looking individual. Black hair and
Opie's got
Italian.
that all-American look, Anthony.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly that I should be searched first.
That's funny. Hey, car chase on Fox News.
I'm looking at that. It's a Fox News alert right now.
Yeah, now let us in on something. Do they still kill the people live on TV or no, or do they cut
You know
away?
what? Actually, right now they have a system where they go into delay for about 7 seconds.
That stinks.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Because
at all.
you don't get the payoff anymore. I used to love watching these
You have
things.
to buy them on the best car chases.
Yeah, exactly.
DVDs.
Put out by Fox News.
God, Sean's watching Fox News around the clock, huh?
You know I do. I watch it. I'm going to tell you, I'm very proud. I never knew when I came up here. We're now going to enter in October, believe it or not, our 10th year on the air.
Wow.
On Hannity and Combs, and we're doing better than ever, and the channel is great. I work for really wonderful people. One thing that I know you guys would appreciate, in 10 years that I've worked there, I've never been told what to say, how to say it. I've never been told what topics to do. I mean, they really give you the ball and they say, hey, go run, have fun.
Hey, you got Bill Hemmer coming over there, huh?
Yeah, Bill Hemmer's coming over. I don't know him that well.
Oh, you don't?
He seems like a nice guy.
I thought he was pretty good during when we invaded Iraq. I thought that was pretty good. He was pretty good on CNN.
He's a young guy. He's a smart guy. And
Oh, that's the guy CNN
used to be on CNN.
Yeah.
let go?
Yeah.
Yeah. He did his Pope coverage, too.
Did he do the Pope coverage?
Yeah, he was all over the Pope
Didn't
coverage.
see that.
What are you talking about today, Sean, on your show?
I'm going to talk about what we're talking about here, about searching bags and liberty and the ACLU saying you can't search bags. I'm going to do a lot on that. We've been following the Supreme Court nominee, John Roberts.
How do you think that'll go?
So far, it looks so good, but we're actually at a point, politically speaking, where Democrats so hate Republicans that they'll do anything to stop this president.
Yeah.
So they're looking into this guy's background. If he made out with a young girl when he was 12, they're going to find out about it, and they're looking for any dirt. Which, by the way, guarantees you two will never be appointed to the Supreme Court.
Oh, we pretty much know that.
Yeah.
But, seriously,
My fraternity brother has some film of me smoking a little dope.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't do any drugs or anything anymore.
You don't want film of that, though.
But he has me taking a puff off a marijuana cigarette.
That's bad.
hey,
Sean, you
there were
could probably
rumors
you
were
could
back in the old days.
you could probably get a
There
pretty
was a
good
party
political
there every
career.
day.
Huh?
There were rumors that back in your NEW days that there was a party there every day.
Yeah, but Anthony and I didn't. Well, Anthony.
No drugs.
Anthony probably drank a 12-pack every day. That was about it.
Jesus.
Well,
But we didn't do the drugs or anything.
you slowed down, Anthony, because of your health issues, right?
Oh yeah, my health issues. That's what it was.
But you're working out. You're staying in good shape.
Yeah.
You're eating right.
I'm nice and trim these days.
Finally
Yeah.
stopped
I
drinking.
was a big fat oaf.
It was like the Opie and William Holden show for a
Oh,
while.
I know.
We
just
went
got to
through.
realize it's time to maybe slow down on the
We-
drinking and smoking.
We tell these stories on the air, and I just don't think the listeners truly believe what was going on back at NEW. They were bringing in pallets of beer on a weekly basis. We had 3 refrigerators dedicated to beer in our office. It was unbelievable because we had Sam Adams and Budweiser as huge sponsors, and they just kept bringing the beer in.
Just hammered.
And we were I can't tell you how much beer was being consumed during that show.
You know what's amazing, though? I mean, for all the, as soon as you guys got in trouble, though, everybody started headed for the hills.
Yep.
And yet, meanwhile, if you guys have 3 refrigerators full of beer, somebody's got to be standing by saying, all right, somebody's got to be the adult here.
Well, the problem was the ratings were going through the roof, so the bosses were like, keep up the good job, fellas. They didn't want to say.
You guys like some scotch with that beer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, what? This is how bad it got. We actually hired a bartender to come in on Fridays.
You did not.
I swear to you. And then we had the bartender brought in shot girls that would dress in little uniforms.
Right.
Or little outfits,
They
I
weren't
should
like
say.
the girls that you'd stick in the barrel and pour stuff on, were they?
No, these were the ones we.
I happened to hear that show one day.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
These were the ones we respected. And then finally, the boss came to us, and he didn't really know how to tell us, but he's like, I think you guys might have gone a little too far with this bartender thing. I'm like, oh, all right, I'm sorry.
Boss, did you want to ask? Boss is really dying to talk to you and ask you a question, and he's just getting nervous. His little hands get straight when he tries to be
You
smart.
really like Sean Hannity, huh,
I'm
boss?
a big fan.
He's great. He's great. I just, people every time you bring up his name, the first thing they bring up is racism or racist, and they don't even listen. They might hear one
if
word.
They do, they don't listen to the show.
And you know what? Someone said, "Oh, he's a racist," and I go, "Well, give me an example." They never have an example, and they go, "Well, what he was saying about Chris Rock hosting the Oscars?" I go, "That was Drudge. It wasn't even Hannity." So half of them never know what they're talking about. and it's just I argue till I turn blue in the face. That was pretty good.
That
we
was
actually
a
live
close
at a
one.
point where, politically speaking, if people disagree with you, like they want to send Karl Rove to jail even though he didn't do anything. They don't like the fact that Karl Rove has been kicking their tail and winning elections. So now they want to come up with a phony issue and put him in some type of legal jeopardy. If politically you're out of power and you make any kind of money, you can guarantee that you will be audited. Because that's now used as a weapon to put people in jail. I mean, this is America. Martha Stewart, I never met her, don't have any like or dislike for her.
Right.
I mean, when we live in an America where they can't find her guilty of the actual crime, but can find her guilty of covering up a crime that they can never find her guilty of,
Yeah, that's a little odd.
that's a little odd.
That's why we're just whenever they bring up these like they want to get these new laws or change things, you just laugh because they cannot get together with each other and make things work. Just doesn't
I
happen.
don't think they ever will. We still haven't closed our borders, for example. You know, here we are in a post-9/11 world, and we have people to the tune of 5 million people a year cross the border at Mexico. And I'm somebody who supports legal immigration. I don't care how many people we take in from around the world, as long as we know who they are, we check them out, we know that they want to be a part of our family, and that they're not a part of some Al-Qaeda terrorist network.
Right.
Basic common sense, but both parties are afraid to take on the issue because they think it might affect a particular voting bloc. And I'm thinking it's your job as a government official to keep the country safe first. And it's clearly the most vulnerable area we have, or susceptible area we have to attack, because if some guy crosses the border at Mexico because he wants to get a job in Southern California, and I can't blame him if he doesn't have any opportunity where he is, but if he can do it at will and we can't stop him, how are we going to stop a guy with a suitcase-sized nuclear weapon that wants to bring it to Los Angeles or San Diego or New York?
Really, right through Mexico.
Right through Mexico.
What exactly is this obsession we have in this country with multiculturalism and force-feeding the idea that English shouldn't be the first language? What is the problem? Why will the left not relent at all?
Look, everybody's got their agenda. Everybody, at the end of the day, when you look at politicians, for example, they want your money so they can redistribute it and create government programs and create dependency, so that keeps them in power. I think at the end of the day, you always follow the money and you always follow where the power is, and then you'll find where they are like vultures, preying on anything they can prey on so that they can stay in their positions.
And has the ACLU, I'm sorry, Rich, has the ACLU, I know you'd be more than happy to have any of those guys on. I doubt they'd come on your show. I
had one on TV last night, Norm Siegel of the New York Civil Liberties.
Oh, he's like the head, right? Is there any, what kind of a solution do they offer? They say profiling based on any type of common sense is wrong. What type of a solution do they offer?
Look, I didn't even get into profiling.
Holy crap! Oh my God! A cop car just drove into
You saw that, Sean?
I just saw that.
Oh my!
He disappeared like they do in cartoons.
Unbelievable. This guy ought to just be shot the second he gets out of this car.
Oh, he made a mistake. He didn't mean it. He went
They
to go make a
ought
turn.
to just shoot this guy the second he gets out of the
It
car.
looked like
They're
he
gonna
must
blame
have
it on
lost the
Hannity.
steering or something.
Yeah, he drove straight into that wall and went right through
It
it.
looked like the wall was made out of like cardboard or something. He
Yeah.
went right. I hope he's all right.
That looked
Now
like a
these
cartoon.
cops have got to be pissed.
Now
Now it's got to get a little more personal. They should just beat this guy so he can make $2 million in a couple of years.
And Anthony pointed out something really, we didn't get into it on the show, but about the fact there was some black-on-black shooting, and the guy was out on like $25,000 bail. What did he shot 3 people?
Yeah, shot 3 people in front of a club recently. I think it was in the Bronx. And he gets out on $25,000 cash bail. I guess his bail was $250,000, but $25,000 cash bail. And then you get Fat Nick, who's a big fat idiot. But to hold him in there on no bail just because it's perceived as a race crime, a hate crime.
Do you know there's actually a school of thought, and we've argued this on TV, where liberals say you shouldn't chase people that are running away from the cops.
Really?
Because it puts the rest of the community in danger. And I'm saying that's not going to stop high-speed chases, because every criminal will then know that all they got to do is put their foot to the floor and they'll get away with their crime.
Right. It's an incentive now for them to run.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see the conservatives have full run of everything. I mean, you have to have some kind of checks and balances. But
No, we want full run of everything. We want to take over.
I haven't had, believe me, what's happened. I haven't seen many logical solutions just coming from the left in a while. I'm sure there's some good ideas, but I haven't seen anything but knee-jerk reactions.
They're pretty angry at Republicans, and I know they hate George W. Bush. They hate the fact that we went to war. They hate the fact, anytime that anything goes wrong in the war, they're quick to highlight it. They never point out anything right that we've done. I mean, they compare the troops at Gitmo. I mean, here we give these guys at Gitmo the diet that they want that meets their religious requirements. We give them Qurans. We give them exercise rooms. We treat them in a multi-million-dollar facility, and basically they get treated better than any prisoner in the United States.
Right.
And yet that's still not enough for liberals.
Not good enough.
It to Nazi Germany.
Compare it to Nazi Germany, say they're being tortured, using the word torture. That's fantastic.
That's what they're saying about our troops, but I just think I don't think the strategy's working because the Democrats aren't winning anything right now.
No.
And if they want to remain in power, they've got to figure out a way to offer some ideas that people like. Republicans are tougher on national security. They are bigger believers in homeland security. And they also believe that we're overtaxed, so they want to give you back more of your money. So there is a plan there that people can buy into.
Well, people that say that, I'm sure Islam, we all know Islam's a very peaceful religion, but is there any explanation they give for why there were protests over the alleged ripping of the Quran, and yet they don't say a word about al-Zarqawi chopping people's heads off?
For all the talk about what happened at Abu Ghraib, and look, it was wrong to put underwear on the heads of the prisoners. Nobody went out there and said, hey, we need to do more of that. We've got to put it in perspective, though.
Right.
You know what? Our prisoners have their heads chopped off. And we've got to be able to use techniques. If we capture an enemy combatant on the battlefield, you've got to understand that these guys potentially have a lot of information about future attacks, future plans, potentially where our troops may be in harm's way. There's got to be some means, short of torture, to extract that information from them.
Right.
If you play loud music, for example, we could play Courtney Love for hour after hour. Now, that'd make me speak.
They call that
I'd start singing like a bird.
That's how they got Noriega out of his compound. They played Twisted Sister.
I think they played Twisted Sister. Yeah.
They did. That's how they got him to finally. The church finally gave him up. They were like, enough.
Well, the left says that that's a form of torture if you try and extract information out of them, or if you sleep deprive them, or if you make them stand on a box for an hour or two. Somehow you're abusing their rights.
Somehow, when you just ask them nicely, they don't tend to give the answers. Other things have to be done.
And what if they know about an attack on a particular compound? Look at that. Another one went in, or that's a replay?
That's a replay.
That's a replay.
We're all watching.
We're all watching.
He's on the run.
He's on the run. This is the end of the car chase on Fox News Channel.
Shoot him.
We're not this guy, he literally smokes 5 packs a day. He's not going very far.
Wow. Yeah, he really is just putzing along.
Who's the lucky? Don't lose the feed.
Oh, no.
All right, we went to another camera.
Oh. Yeah, put your arms up.
Put your arms
up.
Oh,
they're going to be nice to this guy.
He's done.
Watch how they rough him up, though.
Lays down. Okay.
Put your knee to his neck. They ought to just beat the piss out of this guy. I can't stand the fact that they can't tune up people on the street anymore. I just hate that.
Anthony, good thing you're not a cop.
It is a good thing I'm not. I take it so personally. I just want them to beat this guy up. Because he'll go to court and the lawyer's going to argue, oh, this poor deprived. It's just such crap these days. What happened to the old room? You take the phone book, hit him in the body so you don't show any bruises on the face.
Right. Good point. The Opie and Jim Crow show.
All right, Sean.
I would like to have a disclaimer that I'm not responsible for anything that Anthony just said.
Of course.
I hear you.
I'm amazed we're friends.
Hey, guys, it's great to talk to you.
All right, so Sean Hannity, you're on XM 124, the ABC channel
ABC channel.
from 3 to 6 p.m.
I'm not on a permanent loop like you guys, 24/7.
Only once, right?
We got a big announcement. We're coming back to commercial radio, by the way.
When are you coming back?
And we're doing afternoons in New York City again.
Awesome.
Yeah, right. Awesome. you heard it in Sean's voice. He went
to me every time. It's getting old.
Yeah, but I heard it in your voice. It still got you a little bit.
You always get me.
All right, a friend of the show, Sean Hannity, 3 to 6 p.m. on the East Coast on XM 124. Sean, thank you so much. Have a good show today.
Take it easy, Sean.
All right, there you go, Sean Hannity.
That was
We were-
the greatest day of my life.
Why? You sounded really smooth.
I had 2 good questions.
I just spit my stupid muffin in your face.
First of all, no, I brought up 2 good topics, and he responded.
No, you didn't. Here's what you did. Polite Sean waited while you went through entire conversations you had with other people. And I said, I like Hannity. And he said, well, I don't like Hannity. So I said, why don't you like Hannity? It's like, can you just talk to Hannity and not relay that awful story to him?
Not at all. I was too nervous. Like when I was, as much as I hate Kubi, I go, if I ever see him, I'm going to go after him. And he was in the front row at Caroline's, and I froze.
Of course you did.
Robin.